At what time? That was before I was home.
Right, how is Ellen? How's your walking?
Oh, I know, it was
Walking?
5:41.
Yeah.
I just done
I was at MetLife.
Did Mike-
tailgating at
What
that
is
time.
secondary
I
loan?
just done a FedEx overnight.
Oh,
because
yes.
I had to ship something
Okay.
overnight.
Right.
And then I
Okay.
couldn't print because I couldn't connect to my printer.
Any more info? Did they ever get back to us?
Because it
Okay.
meets the.
And Arnie never got back?
That would, well, I
And
barely.
Arnie
checked
never
that.
answered?
Yeah,
It's very serious, this one.
that's not good, is it? So they should have to keep an eye on her.
Yeah, I tried to.
So he's saying it was actually his
Doctor
number.
Heiser.
So he's just saying that's his numbers.
Two friends were literally dying.
All right, so he just wants. He just,
It's terrible.
Still said they're like heaven.
This is so.
every day.
What time it says?
Cracked her
Yeah.
femur.
okay.
Had her hips
All right.
replaced.
That's off.
Who's this?
Yeah.
Yep.
City.
Oh,
Okay.
Really?
Yep. Okay. Yep. Very good.
If he doesn't call him 2 minutes from sending somebody to go check on him.
She's young.
that's terrible. So sad.
Last I heard from her, she said,
Thing down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send
All
the
right.
police.
No
Who calls-
problem.
who
Yeah.
calls Luigi, see if he's there.
Okay. Good.
He's on state contract.
Yeah.
So if he's on state contract,
Yeah.
he's kind of legit.
Yep. Okay. Thanks.
In fact, the White Plains guy wants to piggyback on our contract, 'cause our rate's cheaper than theirs.
One more minute.
Was that game today? That you just?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
beautiful
it started
day
late,
for it.
that's why I was.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
actually see the goal, I don't
late.
think.
That's awesome.
I'll show it to you again. It was it was a good goal. But it was just, it started late, it ran late, everything was late.
Nice.
Oh, also Jason,
That is a good goal.
what you were saying.
if you can, also remind people about the Rye Brook Fit Walk November 4th.
Oh,
It was good.
I'm sure Chris has that on the
He
administrators,
does?
no?
Okay,
I would
thank you.
imagine. Do we want to check on him? I know, I was just saying. What? Oh, the phone's not working. Ah, gotcha, all right. I'm waiting for the, okay. All right, good evening. Let's start with, can everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United
States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, September 12th. It's about 7:40. We just came from executive session where we discussed non-union compensation. The first item on the agenda is a resolution considering designating September as National Dog Service Month.
Okay, and Mayor, since the resolution mirrors the proclamation, maybe you want to be the one to read the
Sure.
resolution and the proclamation in one?
All right, maybe I'll just go up here.
Sure.
So we do have, and I'd really like to thank Michaela for bringing this to our attention. We really appreciate this. I have a proclamation here. Whereas, and I have to talk into the mic, otherwise I'll go over there. Whereas in the United States, 64 million adults and children have a disability, and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure quality partnerships. And whereas Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and deeply committed community of support. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting them. And whereas the Village of Rye Brook continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their service dogs are embraced. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jason Klein, Mayor of the Village of Rye Brook, in recognition of service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community, do hereby proclaim September to be National Service Dog Month.
Sure. beautiful dog, huh? Isn't that a beautiful dog?
I love dogs.
Me too.
One more.
You got a picture, Greg? Greg, you have one?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
In the formal part, I guess we should have a motion and.
Oh yeah, we do need. All right, so can I? Let's make this formal. Yeah, can I please have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I don't think we need any questions, comments, discussion.
No.
All right,
Okay. Can we just take all in favor? Would that be okay?
Yes.
sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you so much. And something less fun, resolution number 2, considering awarding contract number 23-15, Central Station Monitoring Electrical.
Whereas the Village of Rye Brook has solicited bids for contract 23-15, Central Station Monitoring Electrical, and whereas the bid for this contract was advertised in the Westmore News as the official newspaper of the village on Friday, August 18th, and was also made available on the BidNet Direct bid system, and whereas at 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, September 6th, all bids were opened and summarized below, and there was 2 bids received. One was Neighbor Electrical Corporation. I don't understand this number, but 191,224,
Crazy.
and Alarm Specialist in the amount of 6,958. Now therefore be resolved, the Village of Rye Brook have determined the lowest responsible bidder meeting the requirements is Alarm Specialist Inc. of Old Tarrytown Road, White Plains. Be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are hereby authorized to execute and deliver all documents necessary or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second. I don't know who you.
have two
Whatever you
motions.
want.
Two motions, that's true.
Whatever you want, I'm here for you.
I'm just gonna second Stephanie's motion.
I mean,
I'm touching Susan's motion.
and I know, David, you say all the time how you don't understand how there's such a big difference.
This
in
one may
the
take the
prices.
cake.
This is the biggest.
Here's what we could tell you. We could tell you that we've checked references with the low bidder, and they're very satisfied. They work in large places like White Plains, right? And we contacted the other bidder to try to get an explanation, and just kind of received a lot of information like prices are going up and prevailing wage and so forth. So the
Just
the
throw
low
it out
bidder,
there
we
in
have
case.
checked references and they seem appropriate, and they're also on OGS too. So they also have a separate. So they are a legitimate company on OGS.
Just 2 bids.
Just 2.
So I guess prevailing wages are only going up for the high bidder.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there we go. All right.
This one, this might be the biggest
this-
difference I've ever seen
This one takes the cake. There's no doubt.
in the scope.
Only a 32-fold difference. So,
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I didn't finish. And now therefore be resolved, the Village of
I
Rye
thought
Brook
you
has
were
determined, I think the
Sorry.
lowest bidder is Alarm Specialist, and be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to execute and deliver the documents to accomplish the purposes of this resolution. I don't know if I finished that.
Right. I think it's probably my fault because I think I started.
I think I was shocked too.
I was just, it was just. I was waiting for the end, but I couldn't wait for the end.
I think we do have we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 3, considering general fund budget transfer and capital fund budget modification for fire department capital projects.
Okay, now therefore be it resolved that the following general fund budget transfer and capital fund budget modification to fund the fire department replacement transfer switch for the Generac 150 generator project and firehouse exterior door stain, and be it further resolved the following budget transfers are hereby taking place. There's a transfer from the fire department building and maintenance repairs to an interfund transfer, and then over to the capital project, the stain and paint for the front doors, the exterior doors, and also an interfund transfer from the general fund. And be it further resolved that capital project budgets be restated, and it's basically just fully funding based on the quotes that we received. The replacement of the transfer switch, it's a total change of $19.50, and the stain and painting of the doors in the total amount of $17.50.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Yep.
That, David.
That was very good. That was very good. I appreciate it.
Yes, pretty straightforward stuff here. We appreciate everyone doing the legwork on this. Questions, comments?
No.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes. Thank you. Resolution number 4. Considering approving use of village streets for the 2023 Velocity Ride to End Cancer.
Now therefore be resolved that the 2023 Velocity Ride to End Cancer is authorized to use the Village of Rye Brook streets for the Velocity Ride on Sunday, October 8th, as requested in an email dated August 21, and be it further resolved that the village route and any conditions shall be approved by the police chief and the Village of Rye Brook Police Department.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second.
And yeah, I mean, I think they've done this in the past, right? That's
I don't remember it being called, was it always called Velocity Ride?
Yeah, it's the same people.
7th year, so.
Right, and
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm assuming they'll coordinate with you, and we're all good. Okay. Yeah, So, all right. Do we have a motion second?
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 5. Considering designating August 18th, 2024 as a day to remember Lafayette's farewell tour in the Village of Rye Brook.
Whereas the American Friends of Lafayette and Westchester historical organizations and municipalities are celebrating the bicentennial of Lafayette's farewell tour of America in 2024 to 2025, and whereas the celebration honors the visit to America of the last of the surviving major generals of the American Revolution, and whereas Lafayette is recognized as a hero of two worlds, both America and France, and whereas in 1777, during the American Revolutionary War, the young Marquis de Lafayette first rendered service to America by traveling from France to give aid to the colonies, joined the fight for American independence, and in the process became one of George Washington's most trusted major generals and considered by many to be his adopted son. And whereas during Lafayette's service, undertaken at his own expense, he proved to be indispensable to the cause of the American independence, both in his military and diplomatic roles. And whereas on September 11th, 1777, 5 days after his 20th birthday, Lafayette shed his blood for the cause of American independence at the Battle of Brandywine. And whereas at the Battle of Yorktown, in which Lafayette played a major role, ended with Cornwallis' surrender and a decisive American victory that caused British government to acknowledge the United States of America as a sovereign nation. And whereas Lafayette was a lifelong supporter of human rights, advocating for religious liberty, racial equality, women's rights, and civil justice, and relinquished his own noble title during the French Revolution. And whereas Lafayette co-authored with Thomas Jefferson's France Declaration of Rights of Man and the Citizen. And whereas Lafayette was an early and consistent voice against slavery in France and in America, where he constantly sought to persuade American friends, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, to eradicate this evil. And whereas Lafayette supported women's rights in matters of education and divorce, endorsing and promoting the views of activists like Frances Fanny Wright, and whereas his lifelong work was always in support of human dignity for all, and whereas during his farewell tour of America, 1824, he visited the then 24 states, always speaking about the ideals of liberty, justice, and democracy. And whereas Lafayette visited Westchester County on August 20th, 1820, including St. Paul's Church, Pelham, New Rochelle, Mamaroneck, the town of Rye, and Saw Pit, now Portchester, to the cheers of thousands with music, muskets, and proclamations. Now therefore be resolved that the Village of Rye Brook hereby commends the Marquis de Lafayette for his dedication to the principles of democracy and equality for all, and proclaim the importance of American citizens everywhere to celebrate the bicentennial of his farewell tour to America, 1824 to 1825. And be it further resolved that Rye Brook trustees hereby declare Sunday, August 18th, 2024, as a time to remember and celebrate Lafayette's farewell tour in the Village of Rye Brook.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second?
Second.
I mean, aside from being a long resolution, that was actually a very good history lesson as well. And, but it was,
There's a gentleman here.
okay.
Yeah, if
And
you
I
want.
was going to ask, I had seen the emails about this that you had sent previously, Chris, and I was wondering if we know if other municipalities are passing similar proclamations.
Would you like to come up and give an update? Is that all right, Mayor?
That'd be great.
History lesson, please.
Yeah.
My name is Peter Feynman with the American Friends of Lafayette, and I think your resolution was much better than the template that the national organization created. But the Friends of Lafayette is dedicated to celebrating the bicentennial visit, starting in New York on August 15th. We're gonna have a big parade on August 16th in Lower Manhattan, going from Castle Clinton up to City Hall. And then he's going to come to Westchester. He came and eat on the 20th. Now, when I told County Executive George Latimer that, he looked at his calendar and he said, "That's not acceptable. That's a Tuesday. He has to come on a Sunday." So that's why the date was changed from the actual day of the 20th to we're celebrating it on the 18th to get the county support. So far, the town of Rye has approved the proclamation. The Village of Portchester has approved the proclamation. The county legislatures have put it on their calendar for the beginning of next year. And I hope the county executive will do so sooner. We have a meeting September 22nd at the Free Library in Rye, in person, where we hope to have create a team from each of these communities. Of course, the village here did not exist. The Village of Portchester did not exist. Only the City of Rye did not exist. Just the town. But we have to make some leeway for that. So each community is being asked to put together a working committee to plan the event. Part of the issue will be that the American Friends of Lafayette will be sending tour buses here, perhaps with, up to 200 people on that day, on that Sunday. Starting at the Bartow Pell House in the Bronx, which was Westchester then. And we will be the last stop up here before we went into Connecticut. I compare it to taking the train from Grand Central to Stamford and making the local stop everywhere along the way and giving a speech and so on. So it will be a constant visit, mainly up the Post Road. You heard some of the towns mentioned there, where each community will be asked to put together their own program. All we can say from the American Friends of Lafayette is this is when the bus will arrive so we can visit all these locations. This is when the Lafayette reenactor will arrive. Hopefully there will be representation from the French consulate as well. And the rest then is, up to the people here to put together whatever plan they want.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, he did not come during the school year. So even though he was greeted with music every step of the way, I don't know if we can get school bands out to.
Portchester's
Right.
very active
Yeah,
during the summer.
Portchester's still active during the
Portchester, you should ask them.
Yeah, I will. They have this thing about non-school year,
Oh, gotcha.
but we'll try. I'm just mentioning
This is the end of August.
Mid-August.
August 18th.
Yeah.
August 18th.
When are the Olympics?
Kids are back by then.
It's after band camp, so they might be able to do it, but not in uniform. But we'll see. We got starting now, because then it'll be on your calendar as a local event. It's not an American Friends event. It's a Rye Brook event. It's a Portchester event, and you're organizing whatever it is you want to do on that day to celebrate.
So it'll be making an individual stop in each of the communities?
Well, the buses will be, yes, but you can schedule events, because we'll be the last one here. You can schedule events all during the day leading up to that. So if you wanted to have, just as an example, a parade or a lecture or something that would take a lot of time, you can do that.
Oh, so you're asking us to organize everything so that way when the visitors come here, they will be entertained and there will be
We're hoping
something?
that the general public will come.
Right.
As I'm saying, for our meeting September 22nd, we have 3 different kinds of events. One event is the private events. St. Paul's Church and the Pell House are not open this Sunday, so they're opening just for us, not the general public. Then after the bus leaves or before the bus leaves, that's public events, whatever you want to do. While the buses are here, with the Lafayette Reenactor, that's both public and for the American Friends of Lafayette, where the mayor can welcome Lafayette, how's your French? Or well, we'll see, whatever it is they come up with.
Right.
And are there gonna be specific stops, like, or you're just gonna kind of make stops down the post road?
No, there are specific stops. We know in Portchester, he stopped roughly on North Main Street, around where the Wells Fargo branch is. So we'll probably meet in the Esplanade on the other side. According to the newspaper accounts, he had a glass of wine there. So we have something specific we can replicate besides
Right.
the music and the bands and the musket firing.
Oh, musket firing.
And
Well, we
Public
fire the
event.
muskets there on Memorial Day
yeah,
when it goes around.
it is.
So we already have, that's the first stop.
So correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking for, you'd like to see the community have some kind of local coordination, but then there's also meetings with the larger group where everyone can kind of share those ideas as well to
Well, I'm the
organize.
contact
Yeah,
with the larger group.
yep. But like, is the local coordinator going to be part of that local group or
Well,
coordinate
Kevin,
with them?
Barbara Davis has called a meeting on September 22nd, the Westchester County Historian, of all the South Shore historical organizations.
Yep.
And we'll start to put together the framework for that, how we advertise it, how do we market it, because Lafayette's Day is not a holiday that's known to people the way Columbus Day or July 4th or other days are. So we have to work out things, but the reason for coming now is, okay, let's get started, and you find out people in the community have connections that you never knew about. Like someone says, you know, I have an ancestor who fought with Lafayette. I mean, fought besides him, not against him. I mean, you know, who knew? There's a Marquis living in Rye, the city of Rye. You know, who knew? So by saying it now, coming out now with it, will give us a chance to find out who in the community has a great interest in Lafayette, in American history, and would like to participate in it. Yes, that's the reason. And again, to make sure it's a Village of Rye Brook event with the Village of Portchester and with the town of Rye. And then the city of Rye will do their own thing because they met there at the Commons area, by the library and the Historical Society. So we have these 2 definite locations we know from the newspaper accounts. We don't know where he went in Mamaroneck. We know in St. Paul's Church, he visited a friend of his, who's deceased obviously, Colonel Pell, as in Pelham. So we know the grave we're going to visit.
Where is St. Paul?
Excuse me?
Where is that church? I'm sorry.
In Mount Vernon.
Thank you.
And New Rochelle, we know where he stopped. It's not existing anymore, but the New Rochelle Public Library is roughly across the street from it. So that's pretty good accurately. Don't know about Mamaroneck at this point.
Great.
So I look forward to you appointing whoever you want to serve on this group and to attend the meeting September 22nd. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so it sounds like we know what we need to do. We appoint that representative and then go from there.
Yep.
Okay. Did we have a motion and second on this?
We did.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments?
What are we voting on?
Just the proclamation.
Sure.
Or not the proclamation, the resolution that we declare August 18th, 2024 as a time to remember and celebrate Lafayette's farewell tour in the Village of Rye Brook.
Wait, I do have one question. So are they gonna be stopping in Rye Brook itself? Or
It doesn't
just-
sound though, it just town of Rye? Just in
Oh,
Portchester?
and Rye. Yeah.
It's a Boston Post Road.
Yeah,
Right.
so sounds like it would just be
So
Portchester.
maybe we could even like team up with.
Well, I think that's probably what makes the most sense.
I'm not offended.
Yeah, they're just trying to include, and they're
It's
trying to
very
include
nice
all
to
of the
include us,
villages that are,
yes.
Larchmont for the same reason. It didn't exist.
I know.
It didn't exist
Yes.
until 1882, so.
Yeah.
Well, he had to pass that way.
full 100 years before us.
Exactly. It's funny.
You
Okay.
want to come this close and, make you feel left out.
That's very kind of you. Thanks for
We
including us.
appreciate it. We appreciate it. And we'll see what our involvement will be once
Sure.
once the meeting comes on the 22nd, we've appointed a representative.
They can get
Someone
more of
can
a feel.
start to,
Yep.
they can get a feel of what exactly is being looked for. And then I think it probably does make the most sense to team up with the town and the Village of Portchester. Yeah, to,
Yes, and make it a bigger thing for
Yeah.
all
And
three.
once
Sure.
you have all that information, then at some point we go to George Latimer again and say, okay, you said you would support us on Sunday, so support us.
right.
So I don't know what the money is.
I would also suggest that at some point, probably after the meeting, but we may want to reach out to the schools.
Sure, make it a
Because I'm sure
learning-
there may be some students who want to do research project
Yeah.
to learn.
That's an excellent idea.
Have it even the French teacher,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Wait, what did you say?
the French teacher.
At what school?
At the
High
schools,
school and the middle
at
school.
the
Not at
Blind
our
Brook and
school.
Portchester schools.
Right, a French teacher and some students might welcome him in French, even if school's not in session, they might be around on the
Right.
18th.
And they may want to do some research,
So
so.
give them enough notice now.
They could work on a project in advance.
Good idea.
Exactly. So. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Any volunteers?
Nope.
We'll figure that out certainly before the 22nd.
No
Doesn't give
parlez
us
vous
much time, but
français.
we'll have to get 10 days to find out who's going.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good.
I'm just reading history of Lafayette.
Administrator Bradbury, can I do another all in favor since it's a proclamation?
No, just read the.
Okay. Okay. Trustee Epstein?
Yes.
Trustee Fisher?
Yes.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution, and thank you for coming.
Can I get a copy of that
Yeah.
resolution? Because I really think it's better than the one we have.
I'm sure we used it as a model.
Yeah, and it's available publicly also at,
We can send
but
it.
yeah, we'll send, yeah.
Okay. I'll send it to our national,
That's funny.
by the way, we'll be visiting here in October. We just found out.
Visiting.
To get a lay of the land, or?
Oh, okay.
He lives in Baltimore, that's where he has his 9 to 5 job, but he's gonna come up here and get the lay of the land October 2nd to 4th.
Okay, great.
We'll have more specifics at this point.
Nice.
All right. Yeah,
Well,
if
it's
you
good
let
that you're
us-
working on everything early, which is nice.
Yeah, if he's stopping
Nice
by,
for doing everything so
let us,
early.
when he stops by, let us know. We'll see if, someone can go over to meet. All right. Resolution number 6. Considering approving use of village streets for Portchester Fire Department's bicentennial year anniversary parade.
Whereas on September 23rd, 2023, the Portchester Fire Department will be holding its bicentennial anniversary parade, and whereas the parade route will be partially using village streets, and whereas the Portchester Fire Chief has requested in an email dated September 7th the use of Westchester Avenue, Division Street, and Hawthorne Avenue, now therefore be resolved that the Fire Department is authorized to use the Village of Rye Brook streets for the bicentennial parade on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023. Be it further resolved that the village route and any conditions shall be approved by the by the police chief of the Village of Rye Brook Police Department.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion second, please?
So moved.
Second.
We certainly congratulate the Portchester Fire Department on its bicentennial. I think this is amazing, and we are more than happy to have the use of these streets. And it takes a similar route to some of the other parades.
Yeah, but this is going to be a really big one, and I was going to highlight it in the report, but if you don't mind, Mayor, can I just give it a
Please.
little bit? So this is their 200th anniversary of the fire department, and also it's the county, Greg, what is it? and the county firemen's parade for their the county convention. So it's going to be a very large turnout, large event. I believe they have 25 departments, chief, right, that are coming approximately, and about 100 pieces of apparatus. So it's going to be a large parade. It's going to be starting from the Rye Brook side of it and then going over to Portchester. So the
Is this the one we're walking in?
this is the one you want. Yes, yes, the walking, and there's also a
Wear
viewing.
sneakers.
You're walking, I'm sitting.
Sounds similar to the Columbus Day Parade.
And it's going to be at 3 o'clock, I think, as it kicks off. But they're going to be doing lineups much earlier because of the large
Saturday?
group. It's a Saturday, and Hawthorne's obviously a nice wide street to be able to queue up. So that's going to be, a lot of the streets here
Lineup I have.
are going to be, a lot of these streets are all going to be the staging area, and John Arnold is taking the lead. Lieutenant Arnold's taking the lead on working with the fire department, working with our highway department to the public works to be able to provide assistance between the police and public works and making sure it's a successful event. Right, Greg? Anything else?
It starts at what time?
3 o'clock is the start of the parade, but they're going to start lining up at like 1 o'clock, I think. 12 o'clock. Okay.
What time
Wow.
should we be there?
We'll get that detail when we let them know who's coming, and but it is going to be a big event,
And parking's gonna be difficult.
and that's why we're going to have to communicate. We're going to have signage. We're going to be doing a whole lot of information leading up
Yeah.
to it.
Right, I definitely think
And then-
that we have
yeah.
to let all the residents know, because it's Saturday.
Yep.
There's sporting
And
events that they have to
Westchester
get their kids to, right?
Is there a route? I don't see a route here.
It goes down Westchester.
Down
I
Westchester
would
Drive.
imagine.
The other streets are really staging, where we're staging.
Hawthorne Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
probably
Well,
right,
up,
right.
Somebody-
And
And then we'll back.
no. Yeah, because if
Where's
it
the
follows
end
the
of the
same
parade?
route as some of the other parades, they queue up on Hawthorne there. They take the left and they just go straight down to the bottom.
Straight
Oh,
down,
yeah,
yep.
very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they have tastings.
See, that fire department was here in 1823.
That's right.
Right.
Wait, who's walking in? Are you guys all walking?
I'm out, sorry.
Well,
No, I'll be in the stands.
He's going to be at the viewing. Yep.
I'll be at the viewing stand.
Are you walking?
I'm trying to rearrange. I've had something on the
Wait,
books
are you
for a
doing
very
Yeah, I'll
long
be there.
time.
I'm like, am I gonna
I
be the
wish.
only one?
You're in good shape, Stephanie.
Yeah, Greg will be marching with his.
I know, I just didn't know.
Greg's marching with his volunteer
Thing.
department.
Okay. No, I'm happy to represent.
Very nice. All right, I'm gonna take one, thank you.
Where's
All right.
there? Can I get something to wear?
David's.
All right. Any other
would you like
questions or comments? No, we did not. This is for the use of the village streets for this.
Oh.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay.
Trustee Epstein.
Yes.
Trustee Fisher.
Yes.
Trustee Heiser.
Yes.
Trustee Morlino.
Yes.
Mayor Klein.
Yes. Thank you. Administrator's report.
Bittersweet day. We have Janice Kanicki is going to be retiring, so we're thrilled for her. But it's going to be a big change for us. Janice has been with us for 26 years in different capacities, and everybody knows Janice and loves Janice, and she's done such a great job with the kids and the adults and everything else, all the people that she works with. She's always just has a bright smile and a positive attitude and always works so hard. So we're going to miss her very much, but she is retiring at the end of the month. We're hoping she'll kind of help us out for here and there between now and the end of the year. But so yeah, we wish Janice well, and I just kind of want to mention to the public, and we'll have some things that we'll be doing for her before she retires.
When's the lunch? You're having a lunch?
26.
There you
26th
go. 26.
of this month?
Yes. Yep. And so yeah, we're very excited for her. We talked about the fire department parade. Also on Saturday, October 7th, we're going to do a new event, which is our family mini golf. It's going to be mini golf at Pine Ridge Parks. We're going to have all mini golf set up, and families can come and have a nice afternoon over at Pine Ridge Park between 12 and 4, where people can come and try mini golf if they'd like. And just an update on the NRCS recovery floodplain buyout program, whatever you want to call it. We currently have the 21 people that have applied. We are excited to move to the next step now. So we currently have a request for proposals or an RFP out for appraisers, and those appraisals are due September 20th. So at that point in time, we are finalizing the final fine-tuning of the agreement, which the board's already approved, subject to council's approval. We have we're going to be having a recommendation for the board to hire the appraiser. And then the appraiser's going to get those completed. We've been trying to, in all the discussions in the RFP and in the discussions with the people that we are applying, we should have all the appraisals done by the end of the year. So by the end of the year, people have choices to make whether or not they want to accept or not the appraisal. It's not a negotiation, so it's just either yes or no to the number that comes out. The state also has to review the appraisals as well, so they have an appraiser reviewer that has to review it, but they have to do it in accordance with the specification set up by the NRCS, so the federal government, Department of Agriculture. So we're excited to move to this next phase, and so by the end of the year, we'll have the appraisals, and we'll be able to make, people can make more decisions going forward. So that's good news on that moving ahead. And this is what we wanted. We want to get it in our hands, so now we know that we'd be able to pick up speed. In fact, I think we'll be passing all the other groups that are currently started way before us, so, in other locations.
Okay. So what happens if, say, like on that Rock Ridge, you said only one person applied, and what happens if that one person accepts it? Would that even make a difference, and how would that affect the other?
That's up to the NRCS.
So you have to remember what the program is, which is removing the hazard. That's a hazard for the people that live there. It's a hazard for the people that have to respond there in storms. So this is not something that's helping with flooding. What this is doing is removing homes in locations where people or homes shouldn't be, or if they are there, that people would feel safer if the house wasn't there. But some people will choose to stay there and make modifications to their home. We are continuing to do other projects, as you know, through the Army Corps and warning systems and everything else we could do to try to come up with other projects that would help flooding. But these are all 3 locations where there's not a lot of good engineering solutions. So that's what we've determined over the years. That's what's been studied and determined here. So in the case, so if people don't want to, this is a way to remove the home. It does not, unlike the original program, which was called the Floodplain Easement Program, this program does not need everyone in a row. So basically, you could take the home, remove the home, and you create a new floodplain there that the village would now own and have to maintain, but that would be one that the village, the hazard is removed. In different areas, it's going to be a little different. So if you go on Brook Lane, that's one where the floodplain restoration, which again is covered by through the federal government, it might be feathered in to be able to provide a little bit more of a softer, feel for the neighboring homes. On Wyman, which is a little bit different, because that road goes straight down to the bottom.
Right.
So in that case, you wouldn't do any feathering or changing of the topography. You're probably just looking at a flat, remove the home and leave it as open space. So it depends in each one. So once we get an idea of whether or not people want to accept the numbers, the next step then would be have an engineering firm that will prepare a home removal and restoration plan. So that would be the next step after that.
So all this, no mitigation for flooding, it's just really
Not a flood mitigation.
Yeah.
This is a recovery program.
recovery, just to get them out.
Moving the hazard.
Moving the hazard.
Correct. There's other projects we have, like
But they're-
Avon one is flood mitigation, and
Yep.
we're also put a grant in for Rich Manor Park. So we got a whole lot of other stuff
stuff.
going on.
That'll
And
help
that's
that.
like the Purchase College one that was turned down. That's flood mitigation.
That's turned down, that's done.
That was turned down by Purchase.
Yeah, by the college.
Unbelievable.
So each one, you're trying to do different things for different people.
Yeah.
We've also done just from a straight notification system. I think we're the only one in the county we've put in this newer, different type of warning system. So we're implementing that now. It's in place, and now we're just collecting data and putting everything in place. You have to do some surveying of the different heights of the brook, and then we're going to have a warning system in place shortly, in a few months, that people will be able to sign up for and get warnings overnight. So if you're sleeping in the middle of the night and the brook's starting to rise, you can sign up and get notification that the brook's rising. You might want to keep an eye on this to the point of maybe, it's time to leave, that kind of thing.
And that's what was installed on Lincoln Avenue, I believe, right?
It's actually on Westchester Avenue in the culvert under Brook Lane, where
It's a different
the
one.
Blind Brook goes under. It's behind the Brook Lane properties. at the
Right.
culvert with Westchester Ave.
What about the one near the gas gas?
That's different.
That's a
That's
different
another
one.
system. That system is one that's not a Village of Rye Brook system. That's one that was installed through a program in the city of Rye, in Harrison, not in Rye Brook,
Yeah, it's not.
and that's a flow monitoring system. So what
On
they're
Lincoln
doing-
Avenue, right? The one on Lincoln Avenue. Okay.
And what they're near the hutch.
Yes.
And what they're doing there is they're collecting about 3 years of data to see if they can modify the sluice gate to make it work more effectively.
I
Because
gotcha.
right now it's turned off.
Okay. So they're trying to use that to see how they can.
They need to
Monitor.
monitor the flow to make engineering adjustments to the sluice gate.
I got you. Okay. Good.
A lot of stuff.
That's good information.
But it's all just doing our best to try to help people out.
Good. Very good.
You're amazing.
great
Thank
job.
you for staying on top of
Thank
it.
you.
I know that all of the homeowners are very grateful for your tenacity.
Thank you. Thank you. And Michael's been a big help with me too. We've
And
been doing
yours.
it together.
And Greg, I'm sure you were helping. Okay, well, kudos to them.
And that's it for tonight.
That's it?
That's
Okay.
enough.
All right, so we do have one item of old business here, the short-term rentals local law. So perhaps, I know that we had talked about this and we wanted some, just some news on what other, municipalities have been doing. So I think, yeah.
It's up to the board whether you feel this is a policy decision that needs to be done, or you don't need to take any action at all. This is one that we had and something we had something to look at, because our associations were saying many communities were starting to adopt these. We're concerned about it, and it's not just the tourism type communities. So if the board, right now we don't have any short-term rental legislation, and we don't have accessory apartments, so this is something that you may want to consider, but you don't have to if this was a concern of the board. If not, then you don't need to take any action. But right now, you cannot have Airbnbs in Rye Brook.
Right, so that's the code as it stands.
Correct.
All right.
If it's the
Why don't
code as
we,
it stands, then
Then
Why are we doing anything? Right. Let's let it stay.
It's more so if we were to allow it and then potentially charge the hotel occupancy tax or.
well, what do we do if he finds somebody
or
that
how do
is
we-
doing it?
Right now, if somebody was doing it, it would be a violation of the code. So it'd be a code violation.
And what does that mean?
That
What-
means they'd have to issue a notice of violation. If they didn't stop doing it and continue to advertise it, then they would go to court as a violation of our code.
So, is it?
And we do know by scanning the Airbnbs and Verbos, there are some locations in Rye Brook that sometimes do have Airbnbs posted.
Have we had any complaints from neighbors?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask
No.
you. Then I think if we haven't gotten any complaints, I think let's just wait and
I
see
think it's.
if it gets out of
You would have
control.
something that typically would come up as a complaint if a neighbor complained.
Right.
Then we would go out and we'd have to issue a notice of
Investigate.
violation.
Exactly.
Because it would be a violation of our code. So this is saying if you want to permit it but regulate it, then this is something you'd want to consider as a local law. So if you feel that that's something that it's a way for, there's two different sides of this. One side is it's a way for people to generate income.
Revenue. Mhm.
On the other side of it, it could have an impact on neighbors. So
Right.
whether or not you want to put regulations in place is really a policy decision. Right now, it's not allowed. We know they're out there, but we haven't gotten any complaints.
Have we been approached by anybody saying we'd like this?
No.
No.
This was generated more from other municipalities and associations saying you may want to consider.
Yeah, and I think, we're not, I see this being more of an issue in more developed areas.
Where there's more
Where there's
entertainment or
there's more things,
attractions.
Attractions.
Right. That's what I'm
I
thinking.
think what you get here is maybe some families sometimes, maybe there's a graduation or seniors are graduating at one of the local colleges.
All right, but that's it's kinda
stuff like that. I
a nice
stayed
thing.
in a-
That's nothing wrong with it.
I went to
don't
an
think.
event and stayed near an Airbnb in Connecticut that was a half hour away because
It was
it fit
convenient.
the need. Yeah,
it
it
was
fit
a
the
need
need.
at that one
but
time.
I wasn't in that town, but the event I went to was 20 minutes away.
I think that we should continue monitoring.
Yeah, that's right.
however,
That's what I
and-
feel.
And especially check the pages every once in a while to
Okay.
see if there are people that are promoting themselves that way. A one-off, I don't think is a big concern, but on a regular basis, I think it's something we may want to think about.
Okay,
I was
fair
gonna
enough.
say, if nobody's clamoring for it and nobody's complaining about it,
So I,
it
yeah,
sounds to me like at least at this point in time, it's a non-issue in the
Right.
Village of Rye Brook.
Right, it sounds like our code really covers it too.
that's exactly it.
If
It
it's
covers
not
it.
something that we need to catch up on, it would just be if there's a change. And I think at this point, it sounds like
No
really
change.
there's not much interest from the board in changing.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, that would be.
Well, some people
public
watch
or
it
comments.
after the points, and
When are our
you should
next
know to
meetings?
contact us.
The next meeting is September 26th and October 10th. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.